Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Healthy Hearts and Guillotines podcast. My name is Chessie, and I'm here with Zakim once again. Say hello, Zakim.
Say hello, Zakim.
No, it's supposed to be hello, Zakim. This week, we are on to an interesting topic that...
Spicy.
This one's got nuts in it.
You might recognize your own faults, as I have, during this podcast episode.
And you're definitely going to recognize some things that you have heard before in your life. Because if you are able to hear this podcast, you've definitely heard these things before.
Sometimes it's so subtle, you think it's natural, but...
It's not. It's constructed.
Mm-hmm.
The topic, of course, is going to be capitalist propaganda syndrome.
Which one?
Oh, it's all of them. We're doing all of them at once.
I don't think
We don't have time for that.
Is it legal to produce a 24-hour episode podcast?
Well, we will need naps. The capitalistic propaganda syndrome. Zakim, why don't you give us a good definition for capitalistic propaganda, please?
Is that it says how much you earn is how much you're worth.
Yeah. And that's absolutely seemingly built into every aspect of our society. And for some reason, a whole lot of people are okay with that.
I know how it started. Before, people wanted to do things. When you looked at a job description, you saw all the things you would do. And somewhere buried between that, there was the salary. Now, the first thing you're looking at is the salary.
I mean, when we created the modern job as we know it is only about 150 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But there was some idea that we would be taken care of. Built into that idea of the modern job, that we wouldn't just be serfs. Because large percentages of the world's serfs had risen up and killed the slave masters in living memory, in this case, of quite a few people. And it had tipped over nations. And so the slave masters had to come up with a new way to convince people to work.
You're not slaves, you are
consumers.
I was going to say something a little bit more contrived and at least pretend to be empowering. Like, you're all entrepreneurs, every single one of you.
Oh, I love this one. You're all associates. Have you ever been a business associate?
Yes, business associate.
Oh my God. That one was clever.
All of this was clever. Just, I wish it was clever for the good reasons.
Clever for the betterment of mankind instead of clever for sending us off a planetary cliff. Well, a few of my favorite lines that I heard when I was a kid. Tell me if you've heard this one. You gotta grow up and go to college so you don't become a ditch digger.
My God, I had exactly the same one, even though we grew up in the opposite parts of the world.
20 years apart and on the other side of the planet.
Yeah, somehow that propaganda transcends both geography and language barriers.
It really does. The thing is, and this gets up my rear end no end, I've met some ditch diggers. They make pretty good money.
Have you seen the ditch diggers in Lithuania? There's so many of them.
There are so many of them, and they get to use the coolest equipment. They get to do one of those big things with the scoopy thing on the end.
And not to shit on useless jobs that exist just to exist, and to inflate the GDP even though nothing's being produced. They do produce something.
The CEOs of basically all AI companies come to mind.
Yeah. When they do something, and by they I mean the construction workers, something gets built or fixed.
With a ditch digger, you get a ditch.
And then you got another guy, and he fills the ditch with pipes that lead to your home or somewhere else, and provides you with something tangible that they have created. You like water? I like water.
I think a not small part of it is that some of the best paid jobs in the world right now are jobs that don't make anything and they screw you up. But we have been encouraged to value money above literally anything else.
About actually creating something.
Above creating something, above having a community, above having relationships with other people, above having
A positive impact.
a positive impact on the world.
Nestle sure as hell don't care about that shit.
I have a
Bone to pick.
Yeah, I have a bone to pick with Nestle, but the whole idea of why we're stuck in this weird situation of money above all else comes down to, if you have to value humanity for something besides a simple metric in a ledger, there's a segment of the world that just doesn't want to do that. And that segment, unfortunately, tends to find itself in leadership a lot.
It's easy to lead when you don't really care about everyone's life.
Yeah, and if you can reduce every human being to just one metric, which is how much money they can make for you, that simplifies everything.
When you're not worrying about such trivial and unimportant things as wellness, livelihood, survival odds.
Yeah, when none of that is important, it's so easy to just focus on the simple things.
You know,
Make a number go up.
We're really talking about things that do sound like warfare tactics.
At the end of the day, that's what they are. A lot of our modern politics has been defined by industrial applications of warfare tactics.
Except here, there's no Geneva Convention.
Except in capitalism and business, the number of regulations governing how much misery you can cause is real low. And if you can afford to pay a fine and just keep doing what you were doing, then breaking the law becomes a cost of doing business.
It's not a law. We're not going to talk about how a business makes $1 billion by breaking a law and then pays $10 million because they broke the law.
And until we are willing and able to hold entire corporations, or specifically the people who run those corporations, not just legally liable, but criminally liable, for the things they did, that's not going to change. The question is, how do we, the people who have time to sit and listen to this podcast, defeat the capitalist propaganda which we have already been instilled with?
Step one, realize you probably have some of it.
You've definitely got some of it.
Tell me if this sounds familiar.
Okay, hit me with it.
Have you ever felt better than someone who earns less than you? Example, yeah, this cashier scanning my items is so below me. They wish they got paid as much as me.
Oh, yeah. No. I am guilty of that. I have been on society's bottom financial rung for a long time, and I have still looked down at Walmart store greeters, which I do feel very guilty about.
They actually do something.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping me eat.
Well, I feel bad for the store greeters because, in particular, they get paid like basically nothing. Mm-hmm. American minimum wage should be a crime.
I would say it is, but...
And it's mostly a job that is taken by old people or disabled people who cannot do anything else but stand in one place and wave at someone. And that's the job. And you're meant to sort of have a philanthropic sympathy with the company because they hired an old person or a disabled person to stand in one place and wave, and they gave that person some money. And you're supposed to be like, well, if I held the company accountable, then they wouldn't be able to have this old person stand at the door and greet me. This is the kind of thing that's come up with by a supervillain in the phase before he builds the death laser.
Besides, this is the same thing as holding a baby, having baby armor. You can't shoot me. I got babies on me, baby armor, and you can't kill me now.
Didn't Elon Musk literally get on stage a few months ago with his toddler, I think, so he wouldn't get shot? Like, wasn't that had his kid like right here on stage in like one of the weirdest appearances of him I've ever seen.
That really does sound like the weirdest thing I've seen.
It was just bizarre.
Round 2.
Round 2. All right.
Enemies of those who earn more than you. This bloody psychologist charges me more than I make an entire day. She's so freaking lucky, so full of herself. Probably has a summer house next to the beach.
Okay. Yeah. I'm disappointed, but the envy for those who do not feel the level of financial burden that my poor ass does, that's real.
3. Disconnected from friends who have less than you. Wait, you're still using that old Samsung Galaxy from 2011? Dude, are you poor or something? That thing barely works and looks like you dragged it through the pavement.
Yeah.
A tiny bit.
So I'm not... This one feels bad. Because the thing I said about being on the bottom rung financially has been true for a long time. It's just I don't have any debts because I'm like hyper debt phobic, which in the U.S. makes you in the top 10%.
Just not having any debt? Oh my God.
You're already in the top. Yeah.
You're already rich.
I had this friend of mine who was like a musical genius, genuine musical genius, produced amazing records. Programmer, smart, could not handle money. Like, if you handed him a bucket of money and just said, hold this for 10 seconds, it would have evaporated by the time you got it back. Because the guy couldn't handle money, and he made much more money than I did until he very suddenly didn't. And then I was propping him up. For almost 8 months. I was making sure he was able to get places, get to job interviews, stuff like that. I did as much as I could, but also I found myself starting to slowly separate from him. Because he was still the brilliant musician, he was still the brilliant programmer, but the amount of energy that was required to prop up someone who has fallen to a lower rung of capitalism than you're on is a lot. And I don't care how saintly you are, we all got limited energy. If you set up capitalism as a ladder where you're not able to interact with people below you on those rungs, whether you have all the well-meaning intentions in the world, start to separate from people lower on that ladder. I think the same thing happens to people higher on that ladder. Somebody offers me a trip on a yacht, I am all about it. That sounds amazing.
I get seasick from yachts, but I might also join you.
Might join, but if I have a bunch of friends that I don't know whether or not they want to be on my yacht to spend time with me or just to be on my yacht, I'm going to start separating myself from those people and maybe only interacting with other people who have yachts.
And see, that's, again, the thing that the propaganda machine does to you.
It really does. It's a basic piece of human psychology, but it's manipulative.
It's manipulative because, of course, people are trying to survive as best as they can. And having friends who are more influential than you, more contacts, more money, I mean, that's just trying to do basic survival. But you'd be thinking, we're kind of past that point, aren't we? Or at least we should be, if it wasn't for this artificially scarce situation of finances.
And it is, my God, artificial. So, I live in Lithuania now. My total, I'm gonna do some math for y'all. My total expenses, $700 for my apartment, which is a more expensive apartment than I need. About $100 for utilities, $400-ish for me and my partner's food in a month. That includes eating out. And 18 euros a month for my cell phone, and 400 euros a month for a bus ticket that'll let me go anywhere in the city, period.
400?
Yeah, they raised the prices, remember?
Yeah, but that's per year, not per month.
It's per year. 400 per year.
Yeah, so you gotta divide that by 12, come on.
Yeah, it's a little over €1 a day. But all of that collectively comes out to what, like 1,300 euros a month, thereabouts, with a bit of slop.
Mm-hmm.
That is planned money. That's money that I can plan for every month. And once my bank account goes and hits that number, there's not a whole lot of surprises that can happen to me that will wipe me out
No.
and mean I have to go into debt.
That would practically rarely happen in Lithuania.
Yeah, exactly. In the United States, my car can break down and there's no public transport. That can be between a $300 and $1,000 or $2,000 repair. And while it's broken, I don't have any way of getting around other than begging somebody else for a ride. Because there's no public transport.
You can overpay the boat drivers.
You can overpay the bolt drivers to, what, 2-3 pennies? But, or 2-3 euros? Sorry, this magic money you have over here that's like, different sizes. It's very odd. But if you get a health issue in the United States, you can just go bankrupt. Like literally, you could just go bankrupt. I think the treatment for cancer is almost $100,000 now in the United States for a round of chemo or two. And treatment for a broken bone, $2,000, $3,000. There was never enough money in the United States where I felt secure. In Lithuania, I can feel secure, but I still dress like a hobo wizard.
Because you're living below your means, which is smart.
I live like an American does, which is to say, the necessities are covered, everything else is luxuries. But the necessities are different in Europe, because over here, they value dressing well. That is a thing that is valued in Europe. I don't have a closet full of beautiful clothes. I have this uniform that you see me in, this black clothes uniform. That's what I own.
Which I'm saying, black, popular in Lithuania. Popular.
It looks great on most Lithuanians. On me, I look like a hobo wizard.
Don't worry, you're going to get used to it. You're going to fit in with the crowd perfectly.
Yeah. But my point is that the ability to slip down the rungs of capitalism is not that big in Lithuania. Mm-hmm. But the ability to climb up those rungs is almost non-existent too. Mm-hmm. You can go to college, but you're never going to get paid more than 2,000-3,000 euros a month at most, except if you're a doctor, and that's 1-2% of the people going to college are ever going to become doctors.
If you're saying 3,000 after taxes, that is like wowee money.
Yeah, that would be a lot. You might get paid 2,000 before, 2,000 after taxes.
Yeah, that's already top, I would say 30%, maybe. Yeah.
In the United States, we would only, we would consider $37,000 a year to be the bottom, 30% of society. That's poverty money. It's also, incidentally, what we pay our teachers.
Yes. I have some thoughts about that for the next episode.
Have some emotions on that topic.
That's why y'all so dumb. I didn't say that.
Look, why would you say something so brave and true?
I guess I'm not in your country, that's why.
Yeah.
We still got free speech.
Still got free speech over here for the moment. Not so much over there.
Don't jinx it.
Well, comparing yourself to other people, though, is the poison. And it's the thing that they are constantly reinforcing that you ought to be doing.
Yes. Because capitalism wouldn't work if they didn't get you to take part in it.
If we're looking to stop comparing ourselves to one another, how do we begin to separate ourselves from all these things which dictated our value as people our whole lives? Because I have that poison in my brain that says if I'm not making money and able to ostentatiously show how much money I'm making, I'm not a success. I have that in my head. I'm sure you do too. How do we separate ourselves from that?
Well, the beginning is to accept that, yeah, we do have a bit of that propaganda in us, which is, of course...
A bit, a lot.
Yeah, it depends. Another thing is not valuing yourself for what you have. I actually have a little list here, as we always do at the end of our podcasts, about not what to add to the wellness journal this time, but how to figure out, well, how deep in are you in the propaganda?
Okay, so we're switching it up a little bit.
Yeah.
These are questions you should ask yourself to begin to examine how these things have affected you.
Yeah. And of course, while it is still very heavily capitalistic, it will only end with some revolution. But, right now what you can do is to build community.
Okay.
And to minimize your spending that is unnecessary.
Well, no amount of saving is ever going to save you out of capitalism.
No, it won't. But if you can survive as long as you can physically and most importantly, mentally.
And starve the beast.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, spending money is all they want you to do. If you're not spending money and you're able to survive comfortably, then you are, in effect, starving the beast.
Oh, yes. I only had 4 for number 5. I got the 5th one. I'm going to say it right now.
Oh, you just now got the 5th one. This just occurred to you?
I got you. It's technically your words. But they do want you to spend money on things you don't need, so you'd feel better about the toxic situation they've created. Example, I know a lot, and I mean a lot, of depressed students. Doesn't matter if it's high school, doesn't matter if it's university, but they got a lot of issues with believing in the world, hope, positive thinking, being on 2-3 antidepressants, but they dress like they're rock stars.
That is true.
Because they want to just have some sort of proof, something to make them feel a little better.
If I were going to point to one example of something that is the make yourself feel better syndrome.
On the surface.
Yeah. Labubu's. Labubu's. They are blind bag. They're these little goblins that come in blind bags, and you pull one out, and they're about 30 euros. And it's just gambling. It's just gambling. But every time you spin the wheel or pull the arm on the one-armed bandit to get one of these things, it's 30 freaking euros. And then people frequently don't get the one they want and throw them away. I actually found one in the garbage the other day, which they're still charging 30 euros for these things. That's a lot of money to open the package, look at the one you got, and then chuck it in the trash. But the idea is that you gamble for a second, feel better for a second, and if you win, great. And if you don't win, well,
spend some more.
That is tragic. And getting out of that cycle, that's important.
Because fast fashion can get faster, as we've just seen.
Oh yeah, fast fashion, and it's not just clothes.
No.
It's makeup. It's accessories. It's everything.
It is. And I am just trying to tell you the lesson I've learned myself, which was difficult, is that how you dress can be a tiny reflection of who you are, but it is not you. You can look amazing on the outside, like actual model.
Which you do.
And you can be absolutely miserable. Like you're out in public, you're walking like a runway model. The door's closed, you're all alone in your apartment, and you're contemplating suicide.
And you're sitting, you're sitting in the bathtub crying in the cold shower because, what you are on the outside doesn't define your inner world. Or if it does, maybe look at your inner world a little bit.
It's probably empty because you consciously or subconsciously realize that the world's shit. And instead of trying to accept that and maybe do something to resist that, fight against it, you're like, right, people like Labubus. Let's get a Labubu.
Let's get Labubus. Let's fill the house with frickin' Labubus.
You know what? All the cool girls, they got Pandora bracelets. I'm gonna get like 3.
Yeah.
Not an advertisement.
Okay, so what's next on our list here? Go ahead.
So, number 2 on the list of finding out how indoctrinized, is that the right word to use?
Indoctrinated you are.
Yeah. If you couldn't spend any money together with your friends, who would you continue being friends with?
Ooh. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Like, if you were equally as poor,
Who would you continue to be friends with?
imagine you are kids again.
And the only thing you have is like
Yourself, your time, your emotions, your
Yeah,
skills.
you can run out into the woods and build a little fort together, but that's literally all y'all have got. I have some people in my life that I would begin to question how. Okay, I don't have anybody like this now, but in the past I have had friends where if it came to a moment where all we had was our shoes and an afternoon and the desire to go play in the woods, I probably wouldn't choose those people because we didn't have anything in common outside of whatever social activity we were spending money on.
Mm-hmm.
And that was sometimes drink, that was sometimes games. But if the money's gone and the only reason you were spending time with somebody was the money, that's not really that much of a friendship.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next on this list here?
Who do you simply tolerate in your life because of the financial incentive?
Thankfully, nobody right now.
Yeah, but for lots of people, even in Lithuania, it would be parents.
Parents, because they, I assume, you're going to have to expand on that.
Well, for kids these days, they obviously cannot be without their parents.
But for teenagers and young adults, I have heard this a few times where it's like your parents are very post-Soviet traumatized over here and don't like to go
Incredibly.
get therapy.
I don't know if they block subconsciously or consciously the idea of therapy. Because you say it to their face and there's a lack of reaction. Like playing with a controller that's not turned on.
Uh-huh.
You're thinking something's definitely not registering here.
You said a word, but the word didn't hit any neurons in their brain.
No, it's just like, nope.
Okay. That one's going to be a tough one for a lot of people, but it's a good question to ask. Who do you just tolerate because of the financial incentive? Those people are ultimately a drain on your psychology, your long-term joy in life. And creating communities is about creating ways of stabilizing yourself outside of just the financial incentives in your life. Just having a fat bank account.
Absolutely. And like I said with parents, your parents might be absolutely traumatized due to how they grew up.
Or they might just be crap. That happens too.
That does happen. But let's say if you're an only child, you don't really have to care too much about them because you're going to get the inheritance either way. Though again, a bit of a shitty thing to think about, but
you don't want to think about things like that with where your parents are concerned. But
it's a realistic point at this point. And if you're not a single child, then I guess I have to take care of them because that's the only way I can imagine my future to be a little hopeful because I'll have a little bit more capital in my life.
Have whatever. That is not a healthy way of dealing with. That creates some really crap incentives to care about your parents, and also for your parents to have a relationship with you.
Yep.
Like,
you can
that's just
thank
not
capitalism for that one.
Yeah. Okay.
On the depression list, we're going on.
This is a depressing list of questions to ask. Like, some of these I'm fine with. Some of these just make me want to go put my head in the toilet. Go on, hit me.
Capitalism is depressing. Welcome to the show. What would your dream partner be? Stripping any financial and materialistic points.
Huh.
If, let's say, for most people, it's marriage, if you're married and your finances stay 100% separate, who would you marry?
I almost said a golden retriever, but
I mean, a golden retriever in a human body, I could maybe accept that one.
nah, that would be difficult because, every now and then they just crap on the bed.
Damn it.
No, I mean, my partner has many traits in common with a golden retriever. He's great.
The reason I bring this one up, it's almost the same thing as number 2, but for the spouse. Because historically, people got married for 2 reasons. One is for kids. Second one is
Financials.
Did you know having a house alone, expensive? Having a house shared by 2 people, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good. I mean, if you can get 2 people in a space that can live together comfortably, that's financially doable. Because this apartment, the one I'm in right now, is $700 a month, but
Split in
half, that's $350. And
can you find an apartment half as big as this one and half as good for $350? You could not.
No, probably not. But I think that those financial incentives also screw up a lot of people because they create envy dynamics when one partner is making money and the other one isn't. It's especially pronounced apparently between men and women, where if the woman has got a job and the man doesn't, it really screws with the man.
Oh yeah, actually I have a lovely statistic here.
Oh, hit me with it. Go on.
Okay.
This is going to be one of those statistics again,
It's a good thing you didn't have depression before you came here. So, what do you think, how much of a greater chance it is of divorce if a husband loses their job?
20%.
Triple that.
I'm sorry?
68% greater chance of divorce.
Are you kidding?
Nope, sadly not.
If the husband loses his job, and I assume wow, 68%?
It is in the America. It's done in the American.
It does make sense if it's in America because there's no social safety net over there.
And you said you need several months to find a new job.
Well, you do, at least. I mean, in the IT sector these days, the average wait time to find a new job is a year. That's...
Yeah, no wonder you're going to get divorced.
Yeah, truly. I mean, that first rent check comes due and it's not getting paid and you start digging into your retirement and your savings, you're going to start feeling the nerves. The 11th rent check comes and you've been trying to maintain a lifestyle where you were getting paid $120,000, $150,000 a year to suddenly getting paid $0, then you're really getting nervous.
And it's much easier to be angry at the person who once provided part of that lifestyle for you and with you, instead of be angry and disappointed at the underlying issue that the capitalistic society does, embellish and create. Because it's hard to be angry at a concept.
It's tough to be angry at a concept, and that's one of the things that I keep coming back to when I'm dealing with people who are deep in the American sort of system of capitalism. They talk about, you get a lot of people shrieking about immigrants being the problem. And when the problem is poor people coming across the border, taking our gerbs, instead of the wealthy capitalist owners of businesses taking advantage of a supply of impoverished, desperate people. That's the issue. But saying, okay, I can see the immigrant every day. I can't see the guy on his yacht. I'm going to be mad at the immigrant.
And also, it's very hard to specifically see which wealthy CEO is importing which migrants. Can you see the paper trail, or is it obscured? Because of course it is.
Of course it is.
Because
it's one company owning 7 other companies that all own each other, and then the CEO is some guy in another country who has literally never visited your country and just owns all these companies on paper. That's a system of built for corruption.
Because
So
because it's hard to be held accountable when no one even sees you.
I guess just, the only solution is to treat bolt drivers badly.
I'm sure that's gonna solve a whole lot.
So sure it's going to solve all the frickin' problems. Okay, that was number 5 on the list, right?
That was number 4.
Oh my God, here we go.
Last
Number
one.
5. Let me strap in, put my little belt on here. Go ahead.
If you had no money, why would other people in your life spend time with you?
Oh my God. This one's going to be hard for a lot of people.
I'm fully expecting most people to just check out at this point.
They basically look at this and say, well,
That is a good question.
that's a good question.
When you cannot answer a question, that's a wonderful question. Let me not answer that.
I think if most people are honest with themselves, they do have value that they could answer this question with. But it is not value that they are used to looking at
Yes.
because it is not value you can put a number on.
And putting a number on things is, as we've seen, very simple, very, quote, efficient for the sake of the number.
So if those things, if you were to examine these things free of the numbers and discover that there were things about you that were valuable, why then, and this is a good question that I suspect a lot of the owners don't want us to ask, are we only ever valued for the one metric, how much money we can make them? I think that's probably one of the more dangerous questions for the stability of a capitalist society.
Because if you would value not just yourself but others for things besides what you make
Then
financially,
suddenly it makes a lot of sense to,
form communities, start trading again.
barter. I
Oh
love
my-
barter. Barter's great.
Barter's great. Hell, you can't tax barter.
True. Well, you can. Do you know you're legally supposed to report your barters in the United States? They wanted to know. I asked my accountant in the U.S. how much I should write down the tomatoes the lady gave me every week. And he was like, oh, well, you need to report that as income. And, then I just honked my groin in his direction and ran out of his office. But, sorry. I may delete this bit. Okay, well, we're at the end of our show tonight, and I hope we've given you all something to think about. We'll be back in 1 week.
Hopefully 1 week,
Hopefully
yes.
1 week. And thank you very much for sitting down with us again tonight to hash over some of the reasons why we might feel bad living in a capitalist society. And thank you, Zakim, for the most depressing list of self-confrontational questions I've ever heard.
Yet. That is one of the things people will value me for, is the brutal honesty that eventually is very useful.
I may have to go drink now. All right. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for listening tonight. This has been Chessie with Healthy Hearts and Guillotines.
And this is Zakim. Your health is in your hands.